Have you ever looked at a truly good person, a person with an honest heart, a relentless work ethic, and a soul you'd trust with your life, and then wondered why they are always the ones struggling? You know the type. They show up early, stay late, do everything by the book. They treat others with a rare, genuine respect. They take the blame for their own mistakes and never, ever ask for special treatment. And yet, it seems like the world has a silent, unspoken rule for them. Year after year, their lives remain the same: quiet, respectable, and invisible. No promotion, no recognition, no breakthrough. It's as if they are standing on a glass floor looking up, watching others, people who cut corners, shift blame, and play politics, not only succeed, but absolutely thrive. They build influence, accumulate wealth, and gain the admiration of those they secretly despise. This is a bitter truth. It is a quiet poison we all sense, but rarely speak about. We have been told a story since we were children, a comfortable, warm fantasy that doing the right thing leads to good outcomes, that truth, hard work, and humility are the paths to success. But what if that story, comforting as it sounds, is a dangerous illusion? What if in the real world, honesty isn't a currency? It's a liability. It's a weight that drags you down while others float to the top. This is the central question that has haunted philosophers for centuries, and the very thing that the world's most brutally honest thinkers dared to face. They looked at the silent rulebook that punishes virtue and rewards a performance, no matter how fake, because here is the secret they don't tell you. Honesty, stripped of power, isn't a virtue, it's a trap. Stay with me on this and hit that subscribe button. It's a journey into the deepest, darkest corners of human nature. Because being honest doesn't make you safe, it makes you predictable. And in a system built on control, predictability is exploited. If you refuse to lie, you become easy to read and easier to manipulate. If you always take the high road, others will use your integrity as a weapon against you. They will give you the responsibility but never the credit. They'll lean on your conscience while they climb on your back. And when you break, you'll break alone. There are so many more layers to peel back, so many more stories to uncover. If you find yourself nodding your head, if you feel the sting of recognition, then you are ready to hear the rest of this truth. So follow along, and let's pull back the curtain on the game that no one wants to admit they are playing. The price of integrity is paid in silence. To truly understand this bitter truth, we must go back, way back, to the beginning of stories themselves. Because this isn't a modern phenomenon, it's an ancient one. A story that has played out in every culture, in every era, a story of the good man who is systematically sacrificed, a story of the honest man who is so quietly removed. Think of the most iconic figures of morality and integrity, the ones we hold up as saints and sages, heroes of the human spirit. Consider the narrative of Jesus, a figure who spoke nothing but the truth, who treated every soul with respect, who never once bent his principles for power or status. What was his reward? He was betrayed by a close companion, denied by his followers, and crucified by the very system he tried to heal. He was not a weak man. He was unapologetically truthful. And in a world that ran on political currents, his truth was seen not as virtue, but as a threat. He was not defeated by his lies. He was defeated by his inability to lie, by his radical honesty, which made him predictable to the powers that be. Or look to the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He abandoned a life of immense wealth and power to seek the truth about suffering. He did not play the game of kings. He lived in poverty, spoke with clarity, and built a community on principles of nonviolence and compassion. But even in his path, there was a relentless, brutal reality. He faced rejection from his own family, constant sabotage from jealous rivals, and the slow, grinding pain of watching his disciples fail to fully grasp his teachings. His goodness did not save him from suffering. It was a direct invitation to it. Because when you live a life of uncompromising integrity, you become a mirror. And most people cannot bear to look at their own reflections. This truth exists outside of any single religion. It is a universal human constant. Think of the folklore hero, the one who always saves the kingdom, but in the end is banished or forgotten because his pure heart is too much for the corrupted court to handle. Or the wise elder in a tribe who offers counsel no one wants to hear, counsel that is right but not convenient. They are loved, but not promoted. They are admired, but not followed. Because in environments where power defines outcomes, morality without power becomes a kind of servitude. Ask yourself this: have you ever been that person? The one who tells the uncomfortable truth in a meeting? The one who stands up for an underdog only to find yourself standing alone? That feeling of quiet isolation, that burning injustice is the price you pay for being unarmed. It's the truth Schopenhauer forced us to face. Life isn't built around fairness or virtue, but around a raw, blind, and brutal force he called the will to life. At the core of everything is the drive to survive, to dominate, to keep existing at any cost. And the ones who thrive aren't the kind or the generous, they're the ones who serve that will best, faster, stronger, more ruthless. In Schopenhauer's world, virtue isn't rewarded, it's endangered. Goodness doesn't win battles, it walks into them unarmed. The more intelligent you are, the more clearly you see how merciless the game truly is. And the more sensitive you are, the more deeply it hurts. As he once said, the more intelligent, the more sensitive, the more sensitive, the more alone. That is the hidden tax of honesty. The deeper your integrity, the more it costs you. Because honesty, real honesty, forces you to go against your own survival instincts, to speak truth where silence is safe, to act with principle when self-interest would be easier. And that means living in a constant state of tension between what you feel and what the world demands. It's a spiritual suicide to be sensitive without a strategy, to be awake without a plan. I want you to really think about this. And if this is hitting home, if this is a truth you felt but never put into words, then I ask you to share your story in the comments, because it is time we stop being a quiet conspiracy of good people and start becoming a powerful community of the aware. What do you think? Have you been in a situation where your honesty was your greatest liability? Tell me about it. We're all in this together. So, what does this all mean for us, for the modern honest person who walks through a world built on strategy, power, and perception, with nothing but sincerity in their hands? It means you have been losing a game you didn't even know you were playing. But not because you were honest. You were losing because you were unarmed. The very thing that makes you valuable, your integrity, is also what makes you vulnerable, simply because you were never taught how to defend it, not through violence, but through awareness, strategy, and boundaries. The truth is, most honest people are not defeated by bad luck. They are defeated by bad assumptions. They walk into a rigged game and think playing fair will somehow change the rules. It won't. There are three core beliefs: quiet, persistent, and deeply ingrained, that keep good people small, broke, and replaceable. And if you want to protect your soul, you must stop believing them. The first belief is this: justice is automatic. Many believe that the world naturally rewards good behavior, that if you just work hard and stay kind and do the right thing, eventually you will be recognized. But that belief is not truth. It is programming. Justice in the real world is not automatic. It is constructed. It is enforced. It is the result of principle plus power. Without power, morality is not justice. It is just hope with no leverage. The second belief, fighting is wrong. Honest people often avoid conflict because they confuse assertiveness with aggression. They stay silent even when something feels deeply wrong. They let others cross the line because they fear being labeled difficult. But avoidance is not virtue. It is fear hiding behind good manners. In a world that rewards dominance, silence is not grace. It is surrender. And the third belief, saying no is selfish. So many kind people are trapped in the idea that good character means endless availability. They say yes to everything, yes to more work, yes to emotional labor, yes to carrying other people's responsibilities. But when you say yes to everyone, you quietly say no to yourself. Without boundaries, your kindness becomes exploitation. You give until there is nothing left. These three beliefs form an invisible prison, one that looks noble on the outside, but quietly destroys you from within. At some point, the honest person has to wake up and realize the truth. You are not losing because you are kind. You are losing because you were taught that kindness alone was enough. It is not in this world. Kindness without strength becomes servitude. Conscience without strategy becomes someone else's opportunity. So the question is no longer, can you be good? That is easy. The real question is, can you be good and not be broken? You do not have to lie, but you must learn to lead. Because the world will not hand you power just because you mean well. It will hand it to those who demand it or take it. And if you want to protect what matters most, you need to stop hoping for fairness and start designing strategy. You must become dangerous in your clarity, not cruel, not manipulative, but absolutely unshakable. Let your honesty be sharp. Let your values be disciplined. Do not perform morality. Embody it, not because it looks good, but because it works. When your character becomes your strength, when your silence has weight and your word has impact, you do not have to fight for your place. You become the place. This is what Schopenhauer offers us, not hope, but clarity. He shows us that you are not poor because you're honest. You're poor because you were taught that honesty means silence, that being good means being passive. But that is not virtue. That is conditioning. That is what weak systems teach strong people to keep them from realizing their own power. The world does not need more broken good men. It needs a new kind of person, someone who is kind but not naive, honest but not predictable, principled but not afraid to draw lines, someone who knows how to move through chaos without becoming it. They don't wait for permission to be whole. They don't shrink themselves to fit a broken system. And when that system tries to break them, they don't bend because they have something more powerful than rage or fear. They have presence, they have self-possession, the kind of quiet force that cannot be manipulated because it does not need validation. So let your integrity speak softly, but carry the sharpest mind in the room, because when you know who you are and you know how to move, you shape the world instead.